The night sky of Verdant 7 burned orange when the shuttle fell from the stars. Tay was walking home from his fields when he saw it. A long trail of fire cut across the purple clouds, and then came the sound. It was like thunder, but deeper. The ground shook under his feet. He dropped his tools and ran toward the crash site. Tay was a simple man. He had come to this colony planet 5 years ago, leaving Earth behind. He wanted peace. He wanted quiet. He wanted to grow his crops and live alone. The colony was small, just a few hundred farmers spread across the green valleys. Nobody bothered him here. That was how he liked it. But tonight, something had fallen from the sky, and Tay could not ignore it. He found the shuttle in a crater of black soil. The metal was twisted and smoking. Fire licked at the broken wings. Tay covered his face with his sleeve and moved closer. He expected to find bodies. He expected to find death. Instead, he found her. She was lying in the grass, thrown clear from the wreck. Her skin was pale, almost white, like she had never seen sunlight. Her hair was long and black, spread around her like a dark river. She wore strange clothes, tight and silver, torn in many places. Her eyes were closed. Tay knelt beside her. He touched her neck, feeling for a heartbeat. Her skin was cold, colder than any living person should be. But there was a pulse, weak and slow. But there, he did not think, he simply acted. He lifted her in his arms. She weighed almost nothing, like a child. He carried her away from the burning shuttle, away from the smoke and fire, and he took her to his home. His house was small, just 2 rooms, built with his own hands. He laid her on his bed and covered her with blankets. He boiled water and cleaned the cuts on her arms and face. He sat beside her through the night, watching her breathe. She did not wake for 3 days. Tay stayed with her. He talked to her, even though she could not hear. He told her about his farm, about his crops, about the weather. He told her about Earth, about the city where he was born, about why he left. He did not know why he talked so much. He had not spoken this many words in years. On the 3rd night, her eyes opened. They were dark. So dark they seemed to have no color at all. Just black, deep, and endless. She looked at him, and Tay felt something strange in his chest. Not fear, something else. "Where am I?" she asked. Her voice was soft, like wind through leaves. "My home," Tay said. "You crashed. I found you." She tried to sit up, but she was too weak. She fell back against the pillow and closed her eyes. "I cannot remember," she whispered. "I cannot remember anything." "Your name?" Tay asked. She was silent for a long moment. Then she shook her head. "I do not know." Tay thought about this. Then he said, "I will call you Yuna. It means grace. You move like you have grace, even when you are hurt." She opened her eyes again and looked at him. Something changed in her face. Not quite a smile, but close. "Yuna," she repeated. "Yes, I like this name." The days passed slowly after that. Yuna grew stronger, but her memory did not return. She remembered nothing of her past, nothing of where she came from, nothing of why she was in that shuttle. Sometimes she would stand at the window and stare at the stars, and her eyes would grow distant and sad. Tay did not push her. He simply let her be. She began to help him on the farm. She learned quickly, faster than anyone he had ever seen. Her hands were gentle with the plants. She seemed to understand them, to know what they needed before even Tay did. But there were strange things about her, things Tay noticed but did not mention. She never ate during the day, only at night, and only small amounts. She avoided the sunlight, staying inside until evening came. Sometimes Tay would wake in the middle of the night and find her standing outside, her face turned up toward the moons, her eyes reflecting their light like mirrors, and she was strong, stronger than she looked. One day, a heavy machine fell from the barn shelf, and Yuna caught it with one hand. She lifted it like it weighed nothing. When she saw Tay watching, she quickly set it down and turned away. I do not know how I did that, she said quietly. It does not matter, Tay replied. We all have things we cannot explain. Weeks turned into months. Yuna became part of his life. They ate together. They worked together. They sat on the porch in the evenings and watched the twin moons rise over the valley. Tay had been alone for a very long time. He had forgotten what it felt like to have someone near. He had forgotten how a voice could fill a silent house, how a smile could make a hard day feel easier. He began to love her. He did not plan it. It simply happened. Like rain falling or flowers blooming. It was natural. It was right. One night, under the twin moons, he asked her to marry him. Yuna looked at him for a long time. Her dark eyes were unreadable. Then she said, "You do not know what I am. I do not even know what I am." "I know who you are," Tay said. "You are Yuna. You are kind. You are gentle. You make me happy. That is enough." A tear fell from her eye. It was not clear like water. It was red, like blood. But Tay did not look away. He reached out and wiped it from her cheek. "I do not deserve this," she whispered. "Nobody deserves anything," Tay replied. "We simply receive what life gives us. I choose to give you my life. Will you take it?" She was silent for a long moment. The moons hung above them, silver and gold. The wind moved through the fields, carrying the smell of growing things. Then Yuna took his hand. "Yes," she said. They were married the next week. It was a small ceremony, just the two of them and an old priest from the colony town. They exchanged rings made from local metal. They spoke their vows under the open sky. That night, Tay held his wife close and felt her cold skin against his. He did not care that she was different. He did not care that there were mysteries he did not understand. He loved her. That was all that mattered. He did not know that across the galaxy, ships were already searching for her. He did not know that she was no ordinary woman. He did not know that the creature sleeping in his arms had emptied entire starships of their crews, leaving only hollow bodies behind. He did not know that he had married the deadliest being in the cosmos. But he would learn. Soon. 6 months had passed since the wedding, and Tay had never been happier. His farm was growing well. The crops stood tall and green in the fields. The animals were healthy. The weather had been kind. But none of these things were the true source of his happiness. It was Yuna. She had changed his life in ways he could not describe. The house that once felt empty now felt warm. The silence that once pressed down on him was now filled with her voice, her laughter, her presence. He woke each morning and saw her face, and he thought that life could not be better than this. They had built a routine together. Tay worked the fields during the day, while Yuna stayed inside, away from the harsh sunlight. In the evenings, she would join him, and they would work side by side until the stars came out. Then they would sit on the porch and talk about small things, simple things, good things. Tay had stopped asking about her past. She still remembered nothing, and the questions only made her sad. So he let it go. The past did not matter. Only the present mattered, only their life together. But the past has a way of finding people, even when they run from it. The ships came on a quiet morning. Tay was in the barn, fixing a broken tool, when he heard the sound. It was a deep hum, growing louder and louder. He walked outside and looked up at the sky. 3 massive vessels hung above the valley. They were dark and angular, covered in weapons and armor. They did not look like trading ships or colony transports. They looked like warships. Tay felt a cold fear in his stomach. He ran back to the house. Yuna was standing at the window, staring up at the ships. Her face was pale, even paler than usual. Her hands were shaking. "Yuna," Tay said. "What is happening? Do you know those ships?" She did not answer. She just kept staring, her dark eyes wide with something that looked like terror. The ships began to descend. One of them landed in the field near the colony town. The others stayed in the air, circling slowly, like predators watching their prey. An hour later, soldiers came to the farm. There were 6 of them, wearing heavy armor and carrying weapons Tay had never seen before. They were led by a woman with silver hair and cold blue eyes. She wore a long coat covered in medals and symbols. She looked at Tay like he was an insect. "You are the owner of this property?" she asked. "Yes," Tay replied. "What do you want?" "I am Commander Park of the Galactic Enforcement Division," the woman said. "We are hunting a dangerous fugitive, a creature that escaped from a maximum security prison 3 years ago. Our tracking led us to this planet," said. "Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. We are hunting a dangerous fugitive prison." Tay felt Yuna's hand grip his arm. Her fingers were cold and tight. "We are just farmers," Tay said. "We know nothing about any fugitive." Commander Park smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "The creature we seek is not human. It is something far older and far more dangerous. It is called by many names across the galaxy. The Pale Reaper, the Blood Shadow, the Void Drinker. It feeds on the life force of living beings. It has killed thousands, perhaps millions." She pulled out a small device and pressed a button. A hologram appeared in the air between them. It showed a figure wrapped in shadow, its eyes glowing red. Its mouth opened to reveal long, sharp teeth. The image was blurry and dark, but something about it made Tay's blood run cold. "This creature can take human form," Commander Park continued. "It hides among normal people, pretending to be one of them. But it must feed. It cannot resist its nature forever. Wherever it goes, bodies follow." She looked past Tay, toward the house, toward the window where Yuna was watching. "Have you seen anything strange?" she asked. "Anyone new to this area? Anyone who avoids sunlight? Anyone who seems different?" Tay's heart was pounding. He thought about Yuna, her pale skin, her fear of the sun, her strange strength, the way she never seemed to eat normal food, the blood-red tears she sometimes cried. But then he thought about her gentleness, her kindness, the way she cared for the plants and animals, the way she looked at him with love in her eyes. "No," he said. Commander Park studied him for a long moment. Her eyes were sharp and suspicious. "The creature is clever," she said. "It can make people trust it, love it, even. But it is a monster. It feels nothing. It cares for nothing. It only hungers." She handed Tay a small communication device. "If you see anything, contact us immediately. The reward for information leading to its capture is substantial. Enough to buy a planet." She turned to leave, then stopped. "One more thing," she said. "Do not try to protect it. Those who help the creature share its fate. We will show no mercy." The soldiers left. The ship stayed in the sky, watching. Tay went back inside. Yuna was sitting on the floor, her arms wrapped around herself, her body shaking. "It is me," she whispered. "They are looking for me." Tay knelt beside her. "You do not know that." "I know," she said. Her voice was hollow. "I do not remember my past, but I remember feelings. Fear, hunger, pain. And now I know why. I am the monster they described. The Pale Reaper. The killer." She looked up at him, and her eyes were filled with tears. Red tears that ran down her white cheeks like streams of blood. "You should turn me in," she said. "You should save yourself. I am not worth protecting." Tay took her hands in his. They were cold. So cold, but he held them tight. "Listen to me," he said. "I do not care what you were. I care what you are. You are my wife. You are the woman I love. Whatever happened in the past is gone. It does not control you. But the hunger," Yuna whispered. "Sometimes I feel it. At night, when I am weak, I feel something inside me that wants to feed. I have fought it. I have controlled it, but it is always there, waiting." "And you have never given in," Tay said. "Not once. In all these months, you have not hurt anyone. That proves you are not a monster. Monsters cannot choose. You can." Yuna stared at him. How can you still look at me like that? How can you still love me, knowing what I might be? Tay smiled. It was a simple smile. The smile of a farmer who had seen many hard seasons and survived them all. Because I am stubborn, he said. And because I made a promise. For better or worse, remember? This is the worst part. We will face it together. He pulled her close and held her. Her cold body slowly warmed against his. Her shaking slowly stopped. Outside, the ships continued to circle. The soldiers continued to search. Commander Park was examining records, interviewing colonists, looking for any sign of the creature she hunted. She was getting closer, but Tay did not think about that. He only thought about the woman in his arms, his wife, his love. He would protect her, no matter what, even if the whole galaxy came for her, even if she was everything they said she was. He had made his choice, and he would stand by it until the end. The attack came at midnight. Tay was sleeping when Yuna's hand pressed against his mouth. He woke instantly, his heart racing. In the darkness, he could see her eyes glowing faintly, a soft red that should have scared him but did not. They are coming, she whispered. 12 of them. Armed. They are not here to capture me. They are here to kill. Tay did not ask how she knew. He simply trusted her. He rolled out of bed and reached for the old shotgun that had belonged to his grandfather. It was a simple weapon, outdated by centuries, but it still worked. Stay here, he said. Yuna grabbed his arm. No. You cannot fight them. They are trained killers. You are a farmer. I am your husband, Tay replied. And this is my home. I will not hide while others come to destroy it. Before Yuna could argue, the front door exploded inward. The soldiers poured in like black water. They wore different armor than Commander Park's troops. This was sleeker, darker, without any symbols or marks. These were not enforcers. These were assassins. The first one through the door raised his weapon at Tay. Without thinking, Tay fired. The shotgun roared, and the soldier flew backward. The others scattered, taking cover behind furniture. Energy beams cut through the air. Tay ducked behind the kitchen counter as the wall above him burned and melted. He fired again, hitting another soldier. But there were too many. He could not win this fight. Then Yuna moved. Tay had never seen anything like it. She did not run. She did not walk. She flowed, like shadow given form. One moment she was beside him, the next she was among the soldiers. And then the screaming began. She grabbed the nearest assassin by the throat and lifted him off the ground with one hand. Her fingers sank into his neck like it was made of soft clay. Blood sprayed across the wall. She threw the body aside and turned to the next. They shot at her. The energy beams hit her body, burning holes in her clothes, leaving marks on her pale skin. But she did not stop. She did not even slow down. She simply kept moving, kept killing, like a force of nature that could not be reasoned with or resisted. One soldier tried to run. She caught him before he reached the door. 2 others attacked her together, swinging heavy blades. She broke one's arm with a casual motion and tore out the other's throat with her teeth. Her teeth. Tay watched as Yuna bit into the man's neck and drank. Her eyes were no longer soft and dark. They blazed crimson, bright as burning coals. Her mouth was red with blood. Her face was the face of something ancient and hungry and terrible. In less than a minute, it was over. 12 bodies lay scattered across the farmhouse. The walls were painted with blood. The floor was covered in it. The smell filled the air. Thick and metallic, Yuna stood in the middle of the carnage, her chest heaving, her hands dripping red. Slowly, the glow faded from her eyes. The terrible expression on her face softened. And then she looked at Tay. There was fear in her eyes. Not fear of what she had done. Fear of how he would react. Now you see, she said. Her voice was barely a whisper. Now you know what I really am. Tay did not move for a long moment. His hands were shaking. The shotgun felt heavy in his grip. His mind was trying to process what he had just witnessed. His wife. His gentle, kind, loving wife. She had just killed 12 trained soldiers with her bare hands. She had drunk their blood. She had become something out of a nightmare, but she had done it to protect him. Tay set down the shotgun. He walked across the blood-soaked floor, stepping over bodies, until he stood in front of her. Yuna flinched, as if expecting him to hit her, or run from her, or scream. Instead, he reached out and touched her face. His thumb wiped away a streak of blood from her cheek. "Are you hurt?" he asked. Yuna stared at him. "What? They shot you. Many times. Are you hurt?" She looked down at her body, at the burn marks on her skin. I will heal. I always heal." "Good," Tay said. Yuna grabbed his hand. Her grip was desperate, almost painful. "How can you be so calm? Did you not see what I did? Did you not see what I am? I am a monster, Tay. A vampire. A creature that drinks blood to survive. I have killed so many, more than I can count. More than I can remember." "I saw," Tay said quietly. "I saw everything. Then why are you not afraid? Why are you not running?" Tay was silent for a moment. He looked around at the bodies, at the destruction, at the evidence of what his wife truly was. Then he looked back at her face, her beautiful, terrified, blood-stained face. "When I was young," he said, "my grandmother told me a story. She said that everyone has two wolves inside them. One is kind, one is cruel. And the wolf that wins is the one you feed." He squeezed her hand. "You have a monster inside you, Yuna. That is true. But you also have something else. Something that loves. Something that protects. Something that chose to control the hunger instead of giving in to it. For months, you lived with me. And you never once hurt me. You never once lost control. Until tonight," Yuna said bitterly. "Tonight you defended your home," Tay replied. "Tonight you saved my life. That is not losing control. That is choosing who to be." Yuna's eyes filled with red tears. "I do not deserve you." "Perhaps not," Tay said with a small smile. "But you have me anyway. For better or worse. Remember?" He pulled her into his arms. She was covered in blood. Her skin was cold as ice. She smelled of death and violence. And yet, holding her felt right. It felt like home. "We need to leave," Yuna said against his chest. "More will come. Commander Park will hear about this. The whole galaxy will hear about this. They will never stop hunting me." "Then we run," Tay said simply. "You would leave your farm, your home, everything you built?" Tay looked around at the small house he had made with his own hands, the fields he had planted, the life he had created. It hurt to think about leaving it all behind. But then he looked at Yuna, and the choice became easy. "This place is just wood and soil," he said. "You are my home now. Where you go, I go." Yuna pulled back and looked at him with something like wonder. "You truly mean that?" "I truly do." She kissed him then, her cold lips against his warm ones. It tasted like blood and tears and something else. Something like hope. "Then we go tonight," she said. "Before dawn. Before they can send more." Tay nodded. "I will gather what we need. Food. Water. Weapons." "Weapons?" Yuna asked with a faint smile. "You saw what I can do. What weapon could you possibly add?" Tay picked up his grandfather's shotgun and checked the ammunition. "This old thing has been in my family for 200 years. It has killed enemies on 3 different planets. It may not be much compared to your abilities, but it is mine, and I will not let you fight alone." Yuna stared at him for a long moment. Then she laughed. It was a strange sound in that room, full of death. But it was genuine. "You are the strangest human I have ever met," she said. "And you are the only vampire I have ever married," Tay replied. "I think that makes us even." They gathered their things quickly. Clothes, food, a few precious items. Tay took one last look at his farm, at the life he was leaving behind. Then they walked out into the night together, hand in hand. The universe was vast and dangerous. Enemies were hunting them. Death waited around every corner. But they had each other, and somehow, that was enough. They stole a ship from the colony spaceport. It was a small cargo vessel, old and slow, but it was enough. Yuna knew how to fly it, another skill that came from her forgotten past, rising to the surface when she needed it. Tay sat beside her in the cockpit and watched the stars streak past as they left Verdant 7 behind. For 3 weeks, they ran. They jumped from system to system, never staying in one place for more than a day. They used fake names. They paid in cash. They avoided crowded planets and busy stations. They became ghosts, moving through the galaxy like shadows. But running was hard. Every night, Tay saw the strain on Yuna's face. She was not sleeping. She was barely eating. The hunger inside her was growing stronger, and she was fighting it with every ounce of her will. "You need to feed," Tay said one night. As they drifted through empty space, Yuna shook her head. "I will not. You are getting weaker. I can see it. I do not care." Her hands gripped the control panel so hard that the metal bent beneath her fingers. "I will not become that thing again. I will not lose myself to the hunger." Tay moved closer to her. "What if you did not have to hurt anyone? What if there was another way?" Yuna looked at him. Her eyes were sunken, tired, desperate. "There is no other way. I need blood, living blood. That is what sustains me. Then take mine." The words hung in the air between them. Yuna's face went pale, even paler than usual. "No," she said. "Why not?" "Because I could kill you. Once I start feeding, it is hard to stop. The hunger takes over. I could drain you dry before I even realized what I was doing." Tay took her hand. It was ice cold and trembling. "I trust you. You should not. But I do." He pulled up his sleeve, exposing his wrist. The veins showed clearly beneath his brown skin. "You have controlled the hunger for months. You can control it now. Take what you need. Just a little. Enough to keep you strong." Yuna stared at his wrist. Her eyes flickered between dark and red, fighting for control. Tay could see her hunger. Naked and terrible. Straining against her will. "Please," he said softly. "Let me help you." For a long moment, she did not move. Then, slowly, she lifted his wrist to her mouth. Her lips touched his skin. He felt her cold breath, then her teeth, sharp as needles, sinking into his flesh. It did not hurt like he expected. There was a moment of pain, then something else. Warmth spreading through his body. A strange pleasure that mixed with the fear. He felt his blood leaving him, flowing into her. And it was like giving away a piece of himself. After a few seconds, Yuna pulled away. Her lips were stained red. Her eyes glowed softly. But she was in control. She had not lost herself. "That is enough," she whispered. "I cannot take more." Tay looked at his wrist. 2 small punctures marked his skin. A thin trickle of blood ran down his arm. He felt weak, dizzy, but alive. "How do you feel?" he asked. Yuna closed her eyes. When she opened them, the glow was fading. She looked stronger, healthier. The dark circles under her eyes were lighter. "Better," she admitted. "Much better." "Good." Tay smiled weakly. "Then we will do this whenever you need. You do not have to starve yourself. You do not have to suffer alone." Yuna's eyes filled with red tears. "You would let me drink your blood? You would give yourself to me like that?" "I already gave myself to you," Tay said. "At our wedding. For better or worse, remember? This is just part of it." She kissed him then, gentle and soft, the taste of his blood still on her lips. He held her close and felt her cold body slowly warming against his. They stayed like that for a long time, drifting through the stars together. But peace never lasts. On the 4th week, they landed on a small moon to refuel. It was a mining settlement, dirty and crowded, full of workers and merchants and criminals. Nobody asked questions here. That was why they chose it. Tay was buying supplies when he heard the announcement. A loud voice echoed through the settlement's speakers, and every screen flickered to life with the same image. It was Yuna's face. Not exactly her face. The image was older, harder, with eyes that burned with cold rage. But it was clearly her. The same pale skin, the same black hair, the same terrible beauty. "Attention all citizens," the voice said. "The Galactic Enforcement Division offers a reward of 1 billion credits for information leading to the capture of this fugitive. Known as the Pale Reaper, this creature is responsible for the deaths of over 10,000 sentient beings. Do not approach. Do not engage. Report any sightings immediately." Tay felt eyes turning toward him. People were looking at the screen, then at each other, calculating, wondering. 1 billion credits was enough to buy a fleet of ships. Enough to live like a king for 1,000 years. He walked quickly back to the ship. Yuna was inside, hiding from the daylight. But she had seen the broadcast too. Her face was pale and drawn. "They raised the reward," she said quietly. 1 billion credits. Every bounty hunter in the galaxy will be looking for me now. Tay sat down heavily. The weight of their situation pressed down on him. They were fugitives. They were hunted by the most powerful organization in the galaxy. Every person they met was a potential enemy. "Perhaps I should go," Yuna said. Tay looked up. "What?" "I should leave. Disappear. If I am not with you, they will not hunt you. You can go back to your life. Find a new planet. Start a new farm. Be safe." She turned toward the door. "You have given me so much, Tay. More than I deserve. Let me give you something in return. Let me give you your freedom." Tay stood up. His legs were still weak from the blood loss, but he forced himself to move. He crossed the room and grabbed her arm, spinning her around to face him. "No," he said. "Tay, please. This is the only way to protect you. I do not want to be protected." His voice was firm, stronger than he felt. "I want to be with you. I knew what I was choosing when I married you. I knew what I was choosing when I followed you off that planet. I am not going to change my mind now." "They will kill you," Yuna said, her voice cracked. "If they catch us, they will kill you just for being with me. Then we will not get caught." Tay walked to the corner of the room and picked up his grandfather's shotgun. He checked the ammunition, loaded fresh rounds, and slung it over his shoulder. "I am tired of running. I am tired of hiding. If they want to hunt us, let them. But I will not run anymore." Yuna stared at him. "What are you saying?" "I am saying that we fight back." Tay's eyes were hard, determined. "You are not the only one with strength, Yuna. Humans have been fighting impossible enemies since the beginning of time. We do not give up. We do not surrender. We find a way to win, or we die trying." He took her hand. "We are partners, equals. You do not need to protect me, and I do not need to protect you. We protect each other. Together." Yuna was silent for a long moment. Then, something changed in her eyes. The fear and doubt faded, replaced by something else. Something like fire. "You really are the strangest human," she said. "And you are the most dangerous vampire," Tay replied. "Together, we are unstoppable." A smile crossed Yuna's face. It was not a gentle smile. It was the smile of a predator who had just found her purpose. "Then let us give them something to fear," she said. She took his hand, and together, they walked out of the ship. The hunt was about to change. The prey was becoming the hunter. The stories began to spread across the galaxy like wildfire. At first, they were whispers. A bounty hunter crew of 30 had cornered the Pale Reaper on a desert moon. None of them survived. Then, another story. A pirate fleet had tried to capture her for the reward. Their ships were found drifting through space, empty of all life. But these stories had something new, something the old legends did not have. There was a man with her, a human. Just a farmer, they said, with an old shotgun and no special powers. Yet he fought beside the vampire, covering her back, never running, never hesitating. Some said he was under her control, hypnotized by her alien powers. Others said he was mad. But those who saw him fight knew the truth. He was neither controlled nor mad. He was simply loyal. Tay and Yuna moved through the galaxy like a storm. They did not seek violence, but they did not run from it either. When enemies came, they fought together. When innocents were in danger, they helped. They became something new, something the universe had never seen before. A vampire and a human, a monster and a man, working together, loving each other. The Galactic Enforcement Division sent their best soldiers after them. The soldiers did not return. Bounty hunters came from every corner of the cosmos, dreaming of that billion-credit reward. Most of them died. The few who survived spread the word, "Do not hunt the Pale Reaper. She has a human now, and he makes her stronger." Commander Park became obsessed. She watched every report, studied every battle, tried to understand how a simple farmer could stand beside such a creature and survive. It made no sense to her. Humans were weak. Humans were prey. They could not fight alongside predators. But Tay was different. He learned to read Yuna's movements, to anticipate her attacks, to fill the gaps in her defense. She was fast and powerful, but she could not be everywhere at once. Tay became her eyes, her backup, her anchor. When she lost herself in the hunger, his voice pulled her back. When enemies tried to flank her, his shotgun cut them down. They became more than partners. They became a single unit, two halves of one deadly whole. 1 year after they left Verdant 7, they landed on a space station in the outer reaches of the galaxy. It was a neutral zone, a place where criminals and refugees gathered to trade and rest. Tay and Yuna needed supplies, information, and a few days of peace. They found none of these things. Commander Park was waiting for them. She stood in the center of the station's main plaza, surrounded by 200 soldiers in heavy armor. Weapons pointed at every entrance and exit. Ships circled outside, blocking any escape. This was not a random encounter. This was a trap, carefully planned and perfectly executed. "Pale Reaper," Commander Park called out. Her voice echoed through the silent plaza. "Yuna, or whatever you call yourself now, you have nowhere to run. Surrender, and your human will be spared. Fight, and you will both die." Tay and Yuna stood at the edge of the plaza, looking at the army before them. 200 soldiers. Weapons that could destroy buildings. A commander who had dedicated her life to hunting them. "This is my fault," Yuna said quietly. "I should have left you when I had the chance." Tay checked his shotgun. He only had 12 shells left, not nearly enough. "If you had left me," he said, "I would have followed you. So this was always going to happen. I would have followed you. You are going to die here, Tay. Perhaps." He looked at her, his eyes calm and steady. "But I will die beside you. There is no place I would rather be. Perhaps. There is no place I would rather be. Perhaps." Yuna's eyes filled with red tears. But she did not cry. Instead, she smiled. It was a fierce smile. A warrior's smile. The smile of someone who had finally found something worth fighting for. "Then let us give them a death worth remembering," she said. She moved first. Tay had seen her fight before, but never like this. She became a blur of shadow and red light, moving so fast that the soldiers could not track her. She tore through them like paper, leaving bodies in her wake. Blood sprayed across the white floors of the plaza. Screams echoed off the metal walls. Tay followed behind her, slower but steady. He fired at soldiers who tried to shoot her from behind. He threw himself in front of energy beams meant for her. He took wounds that should have killed him and kept fighting, kept moving, kept standing. Commander Park watched with growing horror as her army fell. 60 soldiers dead in the first minute. Then 100. Then 150. The Pale Reaper moved through them like a goddess of death, unstoppable and eternal. But it was not the vampire that scared her most. It was the human. Tay was bleeding from a dozen wounds. His left arm hung uselessly at his side. His face was covered in blood and burns. Yet he kept fighting. Every time a soldier got too close to Yuna, he was there. Every time someone tried to flank her, his shotgun roared. He should have been dead 10 times over. But some impossible will kept him on his feet. "What are you?" Commander Park whispered. "I am her husband," Tay said, appearing behind her with the barrel of his shotgun pressed to her head. "And you are going to call off your soldiers, now." Commander Park looked at the plaza. Most of her army was dead. The survivors were running or hiding. The great trap she had built was in ruins. She slowly raised her hands. "Stand down," she ordered. Her voice was hollow, defeated. "All units, stand down." The fighting stopped. The few remaining soldiers lowered their weapons. Silence fell over the plaza, broken only by the groans of the wounded and dying. Yuna walked through the carnage toward Tay and Commander Park. She was covered in blood, her eyes still glowing faintly red. She looked at the commander with cold disdain. "You have been hunting me for years," Yuna said. "You have sent armies after me. You have offered rewards that could buy planets. And for what? I never wanted to hurt anyone. I just wanted to be left alone." "You are a monster," Commander Park spat. "You have killed thousands." "I was a monster," Yuna agreed. "When I woke up in that prison, I did not know who or what I was. I only knew hunger. They tortured me, experimented on me, drove me to madness. When I escaped, I was not myself. I was just the hunger." She took Tay's hand. "But this man showed me another way. He showed me that I could choose what to be, that I did not have to be defined by my worst moments. He taught me that even monsters can love." Commander Park looked at them. The vampire and the human, standing hand in hand, covered in blood but unbowed. Despite everything, she felt something stir in her chest. Something like respect. "What do you want?" she asked. "We want to be left alone," Tay said. "No more hunters. No more soldiers. No more rewards. We just want to live our lives in peace. And if I refuse?" Yuna's eyes flashed red. "Then we will continue to fight, and we will keep fighting until there is no one left to hunt us. We have already killed 200 of your best soldiers. How many more will you sacrifice before you understand that we cannot be stopped?" Commander Park was silent for a long moment. Then she laughed. It was a bitter, tired laugh, the laugh of someone who had finally seen the truth. "You win," she said. "I will call off the hunt. But know this. I am not the only one who wants you dead. There will always be others. Then we will face them together," Tay said. He looked at Yuna. And she looked at him. In that moment, surrounded by death and chaos, they were at peace. They walked out of the station hand in hand, leaving Commander Park and her broken army behind. They found their ship, patched their wounds, and flew out into the stars. The news spread quickly. The Pale Reaper had defeated the Galactic Enforcement Division. She had a human with her, a simple farmer who fought like a demon. They could not be stopped. They could not be caught. They were free. Some people were afraid of them. Some were inspired. But everyone agreed on one thing. The universe had changed. Because it was not just the vampire that made them powerful. It was what they had together. A bond stronger than fear. A love deeper than hunger. A partnership that could not be broken. The deadliest creature in the cosmos had found something worth protecting. And her human husband would fight beside her until the end of time. This was their story. This was their legend. And it was only the beginning.